Immigration updates as of day 2 of the Trump 2.0 administration, or the second Trump administration. My name is Emily Sumner, and welcome to Live at Lunch. If you are joining us live, I'm glad that you're here. If you have caught us on the replay, I'm also glad that you are here and that you are joining us. There's a lot to talk about. There will be a lot to talk about, definitely for the next several weeks, months, possibly years. But we are here to walk you through it and to support foreign nationals and those who employ foreign nationals, who love foreign nationals, who live with foreign nationals. We are here to support you. There's a lot going on, a lot of information coming at all of us, including us immigration attorneys, and a lot to break down. Today, I want to focus on two discrete executive orders that have come down from the White House as of the inauguration yesterday. The first thing that I want to talk about is the information, the executive order that came down about birthright citizenship. And then the second one is information about protecting the United States from terrorists. Basically, I see it as extreme vetting of foreign nationals who want to enter the United States. So let's talk first about birthright citizenship. What is it not? Let's first talk about what it's not. The information that has come out about ending birthright citizenship, first of all, is, and I'm going to reference notes here because we knew it was coming, but it's new information. But the executive order that came out about birthright citizenship is an executive order, but it does not change the Constitution. It does not change the statutes, and it does not affect the birthright citizenship is talking about whether or not a person born in the United States is born as a U.S. citizen. Like if you're physically born in the United States, are you born a U.S. citizen? Does not affect naturalization. So if there are individuals, if you or somebody that you know is applying for naturalization, let's say you've had your green card for X number of years and you're applying for naturalization, this is not at all related to that. So as of right now, naturalization is not changed. The birthright citizenship idea, like I said, right now, the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution says that a person born in the United States, and I'm going to read it, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state where they reside. It seems like that's pretty straightforward. The Trump administration, of course, wants to change that so that it's not universally true. Since the 14th Amendment, it's been widely accepted, universally true, that a person born physically here in the United States is born a U.S. citizen, regardless of what the immigration status of their parents are or is. So this executive order is seeking to change that, which is, that's what it is, an executive order. So we'll talk about what that means in just a minute. But this executive order is seeking to change that. And what they're focusing on, they know that this is going to be challenged. In fact, the ACLU already issued I'm getting distracted here. The ACLU has already filed a lawsuit against this, contesting this. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But it seems like the administration is focusing on the subject to the jurisdiction thereof aspect of the 14th Amendment. And they say that consistent with this subject to the jurisdiction thereof, Congress has further specified in legislation a person born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof as a foreign national. They're trying to kind of reinterpret that subject to the jurisdiction thereof and to put restrictions on what type of person is subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. So they've put a couple of different specifications into place. And I don't think I'm going to get into that. Well, I will. Okay. So they say that among the categories, among the type of people in the United States not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, is when a person's mother is unlawfully present in the United States and the father was not a U.S. citizen or permanent resident at the time of their birth, or when that person's mother's presence in the United States was lawful but temporary, meaning they entered on the visa waiver program, also known as ESTA, or they're here in a temporary classification like a student, work, or a tourist visa. And again, the father is not a U.S. citizen or permanent resident when the child is born. So that's what they're proposing to change. We'll see what happens with this. The other thing to keep in mind is that they're saying that this applies starting 30 days from the date of this order. So if somebody was already born in the United States, ostensibly this is not retroactive. The other thing to keep in mind, though, more importantly than anything else, is that this is an executive order, and you can't change the Constitution or really even the interpretation of the Constitution through an executive order. So there is going to be all kinds of litigation. Like I said, the ACLU has already sued. They had that ready to go, I'm sure, because like I said, we knew that this was coming. But it is something that's going to be just challenged extensively in the courts. And I do think it's going to take a long time for this to get through the courts. I honestly do think that this is going to be reviewed by the Supreme Court, and we'll have to see what happens then. As of right now, what you need to know right now, as of right now, is this does not affect people who have already been born in the United States. It does not touch naturalization and the current, statutes and regulations around regulation, and that it, as of right now, they're trying to say, the administration is trying to say that this will affect individuals born in the United States who meet those requirements that I just mentioned about the mother's status, who meet those requirements starting 30 days after the executive order. So it's going forward, if at all. I expect that there will be an injunction. An injunction means that a federal court says to the government, hey, this is possibly, it's in litigation. You need to stop doing this or stop implementing this until a decision has been made on this particular legal matter. So I imagine there'll be an injunction, but we'll have to see what happens there. But as of right now, like I said, know that it is going forward, that there's ongoing litigation, and it's definitely going to be a hot topic going forward. The other thing that I wanted to talk about that has come up, the other executive action, and there are more out there. There are more executive actions, or orders rather, not actions, but orders, more executive orders that have been put out there already, and we're not going to be able to cover, of course, every one of them. As we go through this administration, I'll be talking about the ones that are most relevant to our client base, but it's also high level and it's constantly changing. So just know that there are always going to be changes and things to keep up with. It's just how it is. Anyway, the second executive order is, the name of it is Protecting the United States from Foreign Terrorists and Other National Security and Public Safety Threats. In general, during the first Trump administration, there were things that were put into place, executive orders and policy changes and procedures that weren't necessarily even written, that they announced proactively, that just made processes harder for when I say processes, I mean immigration processes harder, and that really instilled this environment of fear and anxiety amongst foreign nationals and those of us who work with foreign nationals, who live with foreign nationals, who have them in our family, or trying to support them and help them. So that's absolutely here, and it's going to continue. That's what the administration absolutely wants to do. So it's important to keep that in mind, that that's their intention, is to instill fear, this environment of fear in everyone regarding immigration. And it's really, really important that I understand that. I have general anxiety disorder. I totally understand. I think it's absolutely reasonable for a foreign national or anyone that has a foreign national in their family, or that is working with a foreign national, whatever the situation is. I think it's absolutely reasonable to be anxious about this situation. But it's also really important to understand exactly what is happening, what's not happening, and what's likely to happen going forward. Because if you look at the headlines, you will think, that everybody in the United States who's not here without documentation is getting deported tomorrow. And that's not anything to laugh about, but that's not the case. Practically speaking, that's just not the case. Anyway, this executive, I'm kind of rambling here, but this executive order, like I said, protecting the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats, is, I think, another name for that could be extreme vetting, meaning that they're using this policy, this executive order, to really, really vet individuals that are coming to the United States. To be clear, I do think that we absolutely need to vet, individuals that are coming into the United States, meaning make sure that they meet certain requirements, for sure. Anyway, this executive order is kind of reverting to what was in place during the past Trump administration as to the level of vetting. It also, I think, kind of sets the stage for potential bars to people from certain countries entering the United States. You may remember that during the first Trump administration, there was one of the very first things that they did was to implement a travel ban. Travel ban is the word I'm looking for. So they implemented a travel ban for individuals from certain countries. It was sometimes called the Muslim travel ban. So I think this order is really setting the table or setting up the stage for a potential travel ban. One of the items here on the executive order says identifying countries throughout the world for which vetting and screening information is so deficient as to warrant a partial or full suspension of the admission of foreign nationals of those countries, pursuant to, and then it names a section of the law that does allow, section of the Immigration and Nationality Act that does allow the administration to do something like that. So we'll have to see what happens. I think that the practical effect of this is going to be that just in general, it'll take longer for petitions and applications, and especially visa applications, to be processed. I'm not at all surprised. I've been telling people for a long time that I really think we're going to see that again during it's kind of a no-brainer during the second Trump administration. But this is the kind of the policy behind it and what they're using to justify the delays that I think that we'll see. So I'm not saying don't travel. I am saying talk to your immigration attorney. If you plan to travel, talk to your immigration attorney. If you need to file something with immigration, just to get a realistic expectation of what the current processing times are. I'm not saying, oh, it's going to be pending for the next 1 million years. That's not the case. But do make sure that you communicate with your immigration lawyer to get a clear understanding of what to expect. So that's the information that we have for right now. Like I said, a lot more information is coming. We have a lot more changes coming. There are other executive orders out there that we haven't even touched on in today's Live at Lunch. But the bottom line is that the administration is creating an environment of fear amongst foreign nationals and those who work with them, love them, live with them, or have foreign nationals in your families, that types of thing. That fear is not unreasonable. It's not unreasonable to feel anxious about it, but it is very important, like I said, to have a clear understanding of exactly what's happening, what that means, and what the potential implication is. And that's not easy to do, right? Even for us immigration lawyers, that's not easy to do, but it's really important to try to have a clear understanding, because there's some things that are going to be announced that just either don't have any teeth to them, meaning it's just going to be very difficult to implement, or aren't going to last. They're going to be challenged by federal courts, or that just don't affect your case. It may be something that, executive order that comes out that is going to have teeth that can be implemented. It is going to survive judicial challenges or, lawsuits, but doesn't affect you directly. So it's important to try to have a clear understanding of that. And then finally, know that we are here to support you. I am here, my team is here and lots of other immigration attorneys across the country are here to support foreign nationals, to help you navigate the next 4 years and beyond. But the next 4 years especially, they're going to be stressful. It's going to be a lot of changes, a lot to keep up with, but we are here to support you. If you have questions, put them in the comments. I'm happy to answer questions as I can. I can't answer case-specific questions, but put those in the comments. And I hope that you will join us next time for our next Live at Lunch, which will be next Tuesday at noon. Actually, that will be a replay because I'll be out of town, but join us Tuesday at noon for Live at Lunch. And if you need any help with immigration matters, please feel free to contact us. The best way is to visit our website and set up a time for a consultation. You'll see a button that you can click there to set up a time for a consultation, or you can call us at 804-396-3412 or email us at info@sumnerimmigration.com. Until next time, I'm Emily Sumner with Sumner Immigration Law.